Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel in partnership with sharpbetting.co.uk. Your home for all your betting tips and expert analysis, not only for boxing, but for a multitude of different sports such as football, basketball, horse racing, and many different events. So, yeah, if you're a big sports fan, please, who likes a bit of a gamble from time to time, please check out the lads at sharpbetting.co.uk in the description below. It's me, Niall, just here giving a quick reaction to what we've just seen from Sheffield, England, as the hometown hero, Dalton Smith, has maintained his unbeaten record with an incredibly wide, unanimous decision victory over the very tough Canadian Matteo Germain over 12 rounds to leave himself on the verge of what seems to be a likely world title shot against the WBC champion Alberto Puello later on this year. Yeah, solid performance from Dalton Smith. Pretty perfect performance, to be honest, bar a stoppage. When people seen this fight was announced, they were underwhelmed with the choice of opponent, and possibly rightly so. But he seemed to be a bit tougher than a lot of people thought he would be. But yeah, Dalton Smith with a very good performance, won every round, knocked Germain down three times. He just controlled every aspect of it with his boxing ability, his technical ability, spitefulness in his shots, hand speed, strength, aggression, front foot pressure from start to finish. And Germain adopted a game plan of movement, lateral movement, to try and confuse Dalton Smith. And he moved well for the 12 rounds. He done a lot of moving, and he had good feet, quick feet, relatively quick hands, and he kept up a good pace of movement for 12 rounds. Just what it came down to is didn't have the firepower to even kind of make Smith blink. He really didn't. He was completely outgunned by somebody who was multiple levels above him. But credit to him, as I say, very tough man. Took some big shots. Dalton Smith is a big puncher, spiteful puncher, and he got put down three times and got back up and dug in until the final bell. So, absolute credit to him, and credit to Dalton Smith. Solid performance, perfect, as I say, pretty punch perfect performance from Dalton Smith. Bar the stoppage, I think he will get flack for not stopping German. I've seen a few people already online a bit underwhelmed that he didn't get the stoppage. But you know why did he need to get the stoppage there? He won every single round at a canter. Put on a good performance, knocked his man down three times, and got 12 rounds in the bank before a potential world title fight in the summer. So what he didn't need to stop him. It's job done. You've no God-given right to finish every opponent you're in the ring with. Credit to German. Don't underestimate German's toughness. Yeah, you've no right to finish anybody, especially when you're kind of at this level. Jermaine a solid fighter, and yeah, Dalton Smith, he didn't need the stoppage. You can't complain with any aspect of that performance tonight from Dalton Smith. So, yeah, the question now is, what's next? Seems to be 99% likely that it's going to be a world title shot against the WBC champion Alberto Puello. And yeah, that looks likely for September now, possibly. And I think that's a fascinating fight. I'm such a big Dalton Smith fan. I really am. I think he's a real classy operator. As I say, he's very well rounded. He's big, first of all, he's bullishly strong at the weight. You've seen it in there tonight. He looked like a welterweight, not a super lightweight. He was very strong. Very crisp boxer, very accurate puncher. Doesn't waste much shots. Doesn't kind of smother his own work too much. Very calculated, very patient fighter. Does not load up on anything. Fast hands, really good balance. Just the kind of fractional movements that he makes defensively as well as offensively. He doesn't kind of waste too much defensive. movement, which always leaves him kind of in a great position to counter with those fast, spiteful hooks. Um, yeah, I just think he's a very, very well-rounded, class act of a boxer, and he's riding away with confidence now at the minute as well. So you can really see it in him. He's enjoying, he enjoying himself in there tonight, and I just think he's a class fighter. And then you've got Alberto Puello, who I think is a very good fighter himself. Quite underrated, to be quite honest with you. Big, rangy, southpaw. Can fight on the inside well for a man his size. Likes to fight on the inside for his size. Really good counter puncher and can punch himself. So it's a fascinating clash of styles, Dalton Smith and Alberto Puello. It really is. I've seen mixed kind of opinions just tonight on who'd win that fight, and I find it very hard to call. Of course, Alberto Puello, a lot of people thought he was very fortunate last time out to get the decision win over Sandor Martin. Yeah, I think he could have lost that fight myself, but Sandor Martin's a top fighter himself, and will cause anybody problems. So, yeah, I just think Dalton Smith and Alberto Puello is a fascinating one. I'd have to edge Dalton Smith just because of the speed, just because of the speed in the pocket. He's faster hand speed than Alberto Puello, and he's better footwork as well. So I just think the speed and the spitefulness up close in the pocket will make him prevail there by a decision. But yeah, it's a fascinating fight, and I hope it's next. You know, he's he's kind of plateaued a little bit the last year or so, Dalton Smith. Um, it needs to be a big fight now. He's done everything on the ladder, English, British, Commonwealth, European champion, and he's proved that he's levels above those kind of levels and stages. So yeah, he's earned a world title fight next. He's ready for it. He's in the prime of his career now, and he's ready to be unleashed onto the world stage. So hopefully that's next. And on the off chance that it's not next, has to be a big fight. People knocking at the door of world level. Maybe a Sandor Martin. Adam Azim, of course, is the huge one. A huge domestic fight. That'll be fascinating, but I don't think that'll happen next. Maybe next year if they both get their hands on a world title or one of them gets their hands on a world title, they'll do huge numbers in the UK. So yeah, I think, I'd hate to see him kind of be like a Jack Catterall, Dalton Smith, leaving himself on the verge of a big shot. He's knocking on the door and then he just goes one step too far and loses just as he's on the cusp of getting a world title shot. So yeah, I think he's ready for it now, and I think he'd win it. I think he'd win a world title at 140 pounds. I'm such a big fan of Dalton Smith. I think the sky is the limit for him. I really do. But yeah, hopefully that's in September. Smith versus Puello, whether it's in the UK or the US. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that looks likely next. So yeah, let us know what you think. That was just my quick reaction to Dalton Smith maintaining his undefeated record with a wide unanimous decision over the tough and game Matteo German in his hometown of Sheffield in the main event. Yeah, job done. Still unbeaten and leaves himself on the verge of a huge fight for the famous green and gold belt. So yeah, get involved down below. Let us know what you think. What did you make of that performance? Were you disappointed he didn't get the stoppage? And most importantly, how do you think he'll win a world title? And how do you think he fares against Alberto Puello? Yeah, let us know what you think. Get involved. Please like the video. We'd really appreciate it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at ASBR Boxing. Follow us on all social media. And of course, check out the guys at sharpbetting.co.uk in the description below. Until next time, take care.